Welcome to The Explainer, brought to you by Forge College. Today, we are looking at the ultimate intersection between the law and the blockchain. We're going to map out the blueprint for translating complex legal obligations into elegant smart contracts. Honestly, this is where the rubber really meets the road in Web3 development. Okay, let's just dive right into the deep end. How do you actually turn legal jargon into Solidity code? It's a fantastic question. I mean, think about it. You've got compliance lawyers speaking one language, filled with policies, jurisdictions, and dispute windows, and then you have your smart contract speaking another purely technical language. Bridging this massive gap is literally what separates a fragile prototype from a highly defensible real-world application. Now, looking back at our previous lesson on building and testing monitoring components and troubleshooting steps, we know keeping a close eye on your contract is absolutely crucial. But here's the catch we often miss. A post-sale audit will frequently expose a rather embarrassing gap between a nicely formatted published refund policy on a website and what the smart contract actually enforces in the code. We need these gears to interlock perfectly. Legal compliance and post-sale management have to be wired directly into your troubleshooting and monitoring systems. So let's unroll our metaphorical engineering schematic, shall we? Here is exactly what pieces of the post-sale machinery we're going to explore today. First, we'll look at the post-sale audit gap. Then, the 3 types of controls. Next, we'll unpack a super cool concept called verifiable minimalism. After that, we'll look at a secure refund pattern and code, and finally, the dispute resolution workflow. All right, Section 1, the post-sale audit gap, bridging policy and code. Moving on to Section 2, 3 types of controls, the locks, alarms, and release valves. To bridge that audit gap we just talked about, we need to treat legal compliance kind of like a building code, using distinct mechanical controls in our contract. First up are preventive controls. These stop invalid actions before they even happen. Think of this as a very strict nightclub bouncer. This bouncer checks IDs and guest lists before letting any transaction step foot inside your contract. In Solidity, these are your access controls, like owner-only functions, time locks, or multi-sig requirements. Basically, if you aren't on the list, the transaction just reverts. Next, we have detective controls. These produce evidence after the fact. So if the preventive control is the bouncer, the detective control is the network of security cameras inside the club. These are your immutable on-chain events and cryptographic receipts. They silently record time-stamped evidence. That way, when an auditor comes knocking later, you can show them the tape and prove exactly what happened and exactly when. Finally, we have corrective controls. These enact remedies. When something goes wrong or, a customer exercises their legal right to a return, this is the floor manager stepping in to issue a refund and clean things up. In our code, this looks like functions that process refunds, release escrowed funds, or trigger administrative dispute flags. Section 3, verifiable minimalism, balancing blockchain transparency with legal privacy. We all know blockchains are incredibly public, but the law requires strict privacy. So how on earth do we balance this tension? Well, by ruthlessly separating our data. Look at this comparison here. On-chain, we only keep hashes, timestamps, and the absolute minimum event evidence required. Off-chain, in secure databases, is where we keep personal data, KYC documents, and support tickets. I always like to joke that you absolutely, under zero circumstances, want to permanently engrave someone's passport photo or home address onto a public immutable ledger. I mean, talk about a privacy nightmare. So, how exactly do we link these 2 distinct worlds? Enter the reason hash mechanism. A recent hash is basically a digital fingerprint, like a SHA-256 hash, of that sensitive off-chain evidence. We emit this hash on-chain. What it does is provide verifiable proof that the evidence exists and hasn't been tampered with, all without leaking a single drop of sensitive personal information to the public. It really is a brilliant, elegant bridge. All right, Section 4. The secure refund pattern. Let's look at the schematics for compliant smart contracts. First, let's zero in on this mechanical annotation right here, the only admin modifier. This is our preventive control in action. By using this, we ensure that an administrative actor must perform all the complex off-chain policy checks, like reading the terms of service or verifying KYC status, before they are ever allowed to call the refund function. This is key. We keep the heavy legal logic out of the smart contract entirely, which saves gas and massively reduces complexity. Now notice the detective control here. By emitting the block.timestamp during a purchase, we allow an auditor, or even an automated system, to definitively correlate the exact time of purchase with your legally published refund window. The security camera is rolling, folks. So the really crucial point here is how we handle the actual refund. We see raise dispute and issue refund. Notice that issue refund takes that reason hash we talked about earlier. And check out the crucial ordering here. The event, which includes the reason hash, is emitted before the funds are transferred. This specific ordering ensures that even if the financial transfer fails for some random technical reason, you still have an immutable, time-stamped record proving that the admin attempted the legally required remedy. Section 5. The dispute resolution workflow. This is where human meets machine. A truly compliant workflow happens in 4 logical steps. Step 1, receipt capture. The customer makes a purchase, and the contract emits an event. Step 2, policy eligibility check. The customer wants a refund, so a human on the support team checks the on-chain timestamp against the off-chain policy. Step 3, dispute registration. A ticket is opened off-chain, which generates our evidence. And finally, Step 4, admin decision and remediation. The admin hashes that evidence and submits it to the contract to trigger the actual refund. And this table right here brilliantly illustrates the separation of duties. We have our buyers, our support staff, admins, and auditors. Each actor has very specific responsibilities and produces specific artifacts, ensuring a completely smooth, auditable handoff from start to finish. Interestingly, mastering these exact operational workflows, not just writing the code, but actually coordinating the humans around it, is a huge part of the learning programs outlined in the Forge College curriculum. Honestly, it's what makes a developer truly indispensable. Okay, let's quickly summarize our blueprint. Number 1, map your legal rules directly to preventive, detective, and corrective controls. Number 2, use verifiable minimalism. Keep that personal data off-chain, but link it securely on-chain with hashes. And number 3, coordinate your roles with clear, auditable artifacts. If you apply this framework, you're going to turn legal constraints into an airtight, defensible post-sale strategy, which is exactly what you need as you head into your capstone projects. I want to leave you with this somewhat provocative thought. Is your smart contract actually legally defensible, or is it just technically functional? Because out there in the real world, functionality is only half the battle. Be sure to review your final policies and ensure your code actually backs them up. If you found this explainer helpful and want to dive deeper into the subject or explore other fascinating Web3 topics, I highly encourage you to visit forge.college to continue your journey. Keep building smart, keep building safe, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.